Welcome back, YouTubers. Today we are going to be going over Power Ranger games. Power Rangers. Our last video we did SpongeBob. This time let's do Power Rangers. Let's kick it off at number 5. Coming in at number 5 is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie video game, released in 1995 on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This was a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up where you and a friend can punch, kick, and morph your way through enemies to take down the evil Ivan Ooze and his enemies. Now, a lot of beat-em-up action. Similar in style to classics like Final Fight or Streets of Rage, you walk left to right, beat 'em up waves of enemies, and face bosses at the end of 2 stages. Now, there was definitely a 2-plane combat. You can fight on 2 different planes, foreground and background, kind of like Fatal Fury, if you think about it. Add simple tactical depth rather than just straight ahead brawling. Now, morphing meter. You start levels in your civilian persona. Enemies drop lightning bolts, pickups. When you collect enough, you fill a morphing meter. Once full, you can transform into your ranger, restoring health and increasing your damage output. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Playable characters, you can choose from 6 of the Rangers. A White Ranger, Red Ranger, Pink Ranger, Black Ranger, Blue Ranger, and Yellow Ranger. Now, unlike the SNES 1994 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game, Tommy isn't the Green Ranger here. He's the White Ranger. And all other Rangers' spirits are, palette swaps with similar movesets. Now, what makes it stand out? Co-op action. You can team up with the second player throughout the game. Morphing as strategy. Filling the morph meter isn't just cosmetic, it's a powerful comeback tool that heals you and boosts your offense. And, the pros, it was a classic beat 'em up filled with Power Rangers flair. 1 to 2 player co-op adds tons of replay fun. And it was a fun morphing mechanic, transforming feel good. Now, the earlier Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game was more basic. 1 player and bosses only morphed you automatically. This movie game is generally considered the better of the 2 SNES Power Rangers beat 'em ups, especially if you like the co-op and the morphing feel. So that's why this game gets number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Based off the hit TV show Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, this game was released around 2000 on multiple systems, including Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Game Boy Color, Windows, and the Nintendo. Each of the games played differently. Obviously, the Nintendo 64 version was a 3D action beat 'em up. You control Rangers in the full polygonal levels, include vehicles and Megazord segments in 3D. Supports 1 to 2 players at the same time, and voice clips from the actual TV cast appear in the game. Now, a lot of people, if you ask, felt like that this was a less polished version. Now, the PlayStation version was also a 3D beat-em-up action game, but with a different feel and structure from the Nintendo 64 version. You pick 1 to 5 Lightspeed Rangers to play through the whole game. Features Megazord battles where you can pilot the Super Strain Megazord and eventually the Omega Megazord. And it does have a password system that you can input codes for cheat perks like infinite health, extra lives, and a locked character gallery. And it can be played solo or with a second player. The Game Boy Color version, it was just a 2D side-scroller platform version of the game, and all 5 standard Rangers were playable. And the PC version was just pretty much an interactive game. Now, the playable Rangers is your standard Lightspeed team. Red, blue, green, yellow, and pink, sometimes with Titanium Ranger as an unlockable. Beat 'em up action, combos, punches, kicks, special attacks, and blocks. Megazord battles, key bosses require switching to a Megazord from form and fighting larger enemies. Voice clips plus FMV, it's all kinds of stuff. Multiplayer, 2 players can team up in many versions. It was great. It was. Overall, the game received mixed to unfavorable reviews, especially in the N64 version. But fans of the franchise remember it more for the nostalgia than the standout gameplay. Some players like the PS1 version better than N64, which is very understandable because it was a better of it. But it's okay. But that is why this game comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Power Rangers Rita Rewind. This game was fun. It was came out December 10th, 2024 on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and Windows PC. This is a side-scrolling beat-em-up with extra action segments built as a part of Hasbro's Retro Arcade. Now, the Power Rangers must stop Robo Rita, a robotic version of Rita Repulsa from the future, who travels back in time and teamed up with her past self to change history and stop the Power Rangers from ever forming. Players fight through iconic timeline moments remixed by the time travel plot. Now, this is a classic 2D beat-em-up combat, punch, kick, and combo through waves of enemies. Play as one of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Stages are built around familiar settings and battles from the show's timeline. Now, in addition to standard brawling, arcade-style shooting, and driving sequences like Zord chase levels, Megazord boss battles, including the first-person style combat against giant foes. And it supports single-player, local co-op, and even online co-op with up to 6 players on some platforms. Visuals and fields, hand-drawn pixel art designed to evoke the 90s arcade and SNES era style. Blends in nostalgia with modern and polished enemies and stages are detailed homage to the show lore. Now, it mixes multiple game types: brawler, shoot-em-ups, boss fights in one package. Co-op play up to 6 players on some versions. Nostalgic references and remix iconic episodes locations. Now, this game has received patches and adds Rangers upgrade and stats customization and improves some different combats. But for a side-scrolling beat-em-up game, this game did definitely bring back nostalgia feels for me, and I do feel like this is why this game comes in at number 3 for me, because it was definitely one to remember. Coming in at number 2 is Power Rangers Time Force, a video game released in 2001 on Game Boy Color, Nintendo Game Boy Advance, Microsoft Windows, and PlayStation 1. This game ties into the Power Rangers Time Force TV series and puts you into the action across different time-based levels as an elite team tries to stop the mutant villain Rainstick and his cronies. Now, the Game Boy Color version was a 2D platformer side-scroller action. Playable Rangers were all 5 of the Time Force Rangers and travel through the levels inspired by time periods. Now, that was all good. Now, the PlayStation version was a 3D action game with fight levels and Zord boss segments. Single-player adventure plus 2-player Megazord battles. Uniframed controlled Zords against bosses. Collectibles was hidden time artifacts and levels collecting all unlocks the Quantum Ranger. And the gameplay was a mix of beat-em-up style combat with some, platforming and time challenges. The PC version was based on the same Time Force concept as the others, with gameplay focused on action missions and stopping Rainstick's time travel threats. Now, you can play as multiple Rangers, choose as different Rangers with slightly varied stats or abilities. Time-themed levels was super fun. Levels are set in different eras or situations due to the time travel theme. Power-ups and collectibles, some versions award bonuses like health or time limits for collecting items or completing stages quickly. The game overall received mixed or average reactions. Some versions were more enjoyable on, handheld than the PlayStation ports, but a lot of people thought that the Game Boy version was better than the PlayStation version. Now, critics often point to repetitive combat and simple platforming through fans appreciate playing as their favorite Time Force Ranger. But the reason why I put this at number 2, because I remember getting this game and having a lot of memories playing it with some neighbors and stuff like that. And, we would sit there, crack open a bag of Doritos and some Mountain Dew, and we would eat some Doritos and Mountain Dew. The main reason for this, because this game had a lot of nostalgic memories to me. Not saying that the game was necessarily good, because it wasn't the best, but for back then in the PlayStation 1 era, it wasn't bad. It was a Power Ranger game. It was cool. It was a fun concept, but for that reason alone, that's why this comes in at number 2. Now, coming in at number 1, Power Rangers Super Legends. It was an action-adventure beat-em-up video game based on the Power Rangers TV franchise, not just one game. It was released in 2007 for PlayStation 2, Nintendo DS, and Microsoft Windows. The game was essentially a celebration of the series' first 15 seasons, letting you play as a bunch of Rangers from across Mighty Morphin through Operation Overdrive. In the PS2 PC version, Lord Zed reappears in the hidden dimension and manipulating the timeline in an effort to destroy all the Power Rangers. You play mainly as the Omega Ranger and recruit Rangers from across history to stop him and restore the timeline. In the Nintendo DS version, the villain Emperor Groom tries to steal the power of the Hall of the Legends and make himself a living god, so the Omega Ranger and others must intervene. The gameplay style was the main game is a side-scrolling action brawler beat-em-up where you fight hordes of enemies with combos, super moves, and ranger attacks. Levels often end with boss fights and Megazord battle sequences, sometimes triggered as quick-time events. Some versions let you perform advanced moves like double jump, air dash, wall jump, and huge combos. The single-player campaign lets you tackle missions and recruit characters, while the co-op play up to 2 players is supported on most platforms, so you and a friend can play through missions together. The PlayStation 2 PC versions have around 21 playable Rangers drawn from different seasons like Mighty Morphin, Lost Galaxy, SPD, Wild Force, Ninja Storm, and Operation Overdrive. Nintendo DS version has about 16 players, ranging from Time Force Rangers, among others. You can unlock new rangers by completing missions, collecting letters or artifacts, and progressing through the story. Now, on the PS2 and PC, the game uses 3D environments with side-scrolling beat-em-up combat and occasional platforming. The DS version is more of a 2D side-scrolling action and includes stylish base attacks and simplification. Now, why was this game good? Huge roster of rangers from across many seasons. Fans enjoy seeing characters from across the franchise together. The co-op played add tons of fun with a friend. And the Megazord battles and quick-time events give some variety. Now, overall feel. Power Rangers Super Legends is best seen as a fan service celebration, a way to play as many Rangers as possible across varying levels and timelines with classic beat-em-up battles and Zord fights. It's fun for longtime fans who like the nostalgia of seeing, many teams together and into one video game. And I think that's why I liked it and why I put this at number 1, because it was a PS2 game, so the graphics were upped a little bit. And it was fun. It was a fun game. It was great. So anyways, guys, if you guys have played any of these Power Rangers games, let me know which ones you guys like. If you haven't played any of these, but you played some of the others that you really like, be sure to drop a comment and let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love. Peace.